down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Oh, bang, bang! Welcome to the Savvy Radio Show. Man, it's been too long. I've actually missed you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world. I miss you. And I just want to say thank you for the two people that said, hey, we miss you. We're happy to the podcast. Sorry, the two folks out there that said, hey, why haven't you done a podcast? I have been slammed boo business. And I want to give a shout out to someone who says, hey, you just start doing your podcast and people don't know about you. You probably should tell people about you. And you're right. My bad. Anyway, my name is VanCauwenbergh. I'm in Oklahoma City. I was born in Dover, New Jersey, went to California, went to high school, never got a degree, and fell in love with real estate back in 1999 and have been crushing it, buying property ever since then. Accolades doesn't really matter. It matters how you treat people and how you live today and who you serve and how you give back to society, aka mentorship, recycling cans and bottles, and just someone is coming behind you, serve other people. Anyway, so that's me. Maybe I'll fill in some more information. I haven't been in the middle of an acquisition, a large structure that I just found out yesterday that you don't want to buy it with the dry cleaning in it. Wow. Just learned about dry cleaning and phase 2, EPA, environmental. And so let me just give you one quick tippity tip tap too. So the bank called me and said, whoa, we need to order a phase 2. And I'm like, wow. And I kind of knew what a phase 2 was and I didn't know how much it cost. But then the word dry cleaning came into the mix and I'm like, there wasn't no dry cleaner in this business, in this building and blah, blah, blah. So I reached out to all my homies and I got a consensus. Don't buy any building that has ever done manufacturing or dry physical cleaning with chemicals. So by the grace of God, this building that I have under contract and a lot of earnest money to the 20K size was a retail satellite store. So I may be under grace, but the financial institution is requiring me to get a phase somebody. So phase test 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. But I'm on it and maybe I'll do a podcast on it. And number 2, why I have been jammed up. Whoa, I was in Chattanooga and I'm going to go over what my notes. Now I wrote these notes like 10 days ago. So it's not fresh on my mind. So you got to bear with me on that. And number 3, I have been writing and putting together a creative financing class that in Oklahoma City that I'm going to drop the heat on and how to do it and how to do it right, how to talk to people, how to follow up, how to get stuff under contract, subject to. And so that's coming. If you're in Oklahoma City, if you listen to the show, September 26th at 6:30 to 9:30, my boy Thomas Morgan and I are going to come out there crushing. I'm already 3 weeks out. And I'm already at 30-something slides. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be great. And, it's going to sell out. So if you want to come to that, that'd be great. You can go to this easy website. Of course, I like to have websites for everything. And it's creativefinancingnow.com or go to savvypodcast.com and go under events or just go to creative financing now. Anyway, so I was in Chattanooga. An amazing place. If you have not been there, you need to go there. The real estate market there is super hot, super great. And I love their numbers and there's ROI on everything. It seems like everywhere I turn around and it's not in a massive demand like Oklahoma City where the prices are just skyrocketing for the same crappy material housing that was there 3 years ago. But for some reason, everyone wants to move to Oklahoma City and Westbrook had to leave. So anyway, what did I learn in Chattanooga? Number 1, that I got a house under contract, me and my homie, and on a subject 2. That's where this creative financing thing comes in because I'm just going to grind it out on creative financing. But check this out. So this is the deal, and my point is that subject to existing finance can happen anywhere, anyhow, on any property at any size. And even from a realtor, because life happens. So let me just give you a quick nutshell and how we got this under contract. A realtor bought the property, 12 years ago, it's worth $350,000. He's very strong in that market. And 12 years later is getting a divorce, and he's about a couple months behind, and he realizes that he wants to walk away, but he doesn't want to jack up his credit. And so he calls Thomas, because Thomas Morgan in that area has built a relationship with this realtor over the last 12 years or so. And I flew in by random, and we walked the property, explained the details to this amazing realtor, and boom, we get it under contract. And so it only owes, so it's a $350,000 property. It's a log cabin on almost 6 acres, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. But the cool thing is that you can acquire an asset for free that has over almost $100,000 worth of equity. So after 12 years of buying it for $350,000, paying it down, you're down to $270 some dollars and some change. And so the only thing that we were required to do is just get it up to snuff. It's 2 months behind. We could easily drop that $3,000 a month payment, which would be $6,000. You can raise that money, and boom, you could own an asset already with equity paying down. And after 12 years, pretty much each $3,000 payment, majority of it is going to principal. So you can acquire an asset solving someone's problem of a headache, and you can take a property down by subject to. Even in Chattanooga, even at a $350,000 price point, blow your mind. And even as a realtor that owns it, that doesn't want to deal with it. Phenomenal. Another thing is when I was teaching several classes, I was intrigued about the way this gal that was in the class that kept talking. And it was interesting. I was like, I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit or whatever, but I was like, girl, you shouldn't be in real estate. Just straight up. She just paid for the Savvy Boot Camp, came down to the Savvy Boot Camp, sat in front of me. And I was enamored by this girl because she was gangster business owner. See, people get confused. Like, real estate is real estate, and you could be a real estate entrepreneur, or you can be a business owner and take your profits and put it into real estate. Ooh, I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it was an epiphany for me, and I think I really gave this gal confirmation. She was trying to force a peg into a hole, because I was like, well, what real estate transactions have you had? Have you raised money? And she's like, I've done 2 flips. And I'm like, what's the numbers? And she was like, 160, 200. I'm like, wow, these flips are pretty extensive. And then like, what'd they yield? I'm like, how many assets do you have? I have no assets. Well, that's the problem. And I'm like, how'd you raise the money? And she raised them. So she has the ability to raise the money. And then she started talking to me about a business that she looked into. And she lit up like a firecracker, telling me all about this business, all about the due diligence that she did. And I was like, I'm telling you, this gal, she needs to crush it in business first. She's gifted in her due diligence. And then I just given her some guidance, and like, it's okay. Like, I know that more millionaires are made through real estate, and I believe that real estate is a vehicle. But if you're passionate about business, it's okay to pause, especially in Oklahoma City with the market so hot and crazy and so many wholesalers and no one's making any money. You should probably work on another source of income, multiple streams of income. Here's a goal that I have. I want 100 things paying me every month. 100 things, 100 entities, or whatever it may be. But I want to cover the diversity. If real estate and recession happens and I own a donut shop, people are going to eat donuts, or I own a tree farm. Whatever endeavor you want to do, think about it, get with a friend, get with your spouse, line them out, and pursue your dreams, and then go back into real estate. Or if you're going to get in real estate, go 100. Don't go 50. Don't go, I want to be a wholesaler, but I don't, because it's a low barrier of entry. Anyone can be a wholesaler. I'm a wholesaler. Here's my business card. That it doesn't work like that. Figure out what's going to get you fired up so you don't hug your pillow at night, or you don't use the technique 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and get out of bed because you're not motivated. What gets you up? What fires you up? If you can get 3 things done by 9:30 and you're just on fire, That's probably where you need to be. But if you get up and you're like, I'm going to look at a few deals and you're kind of lollygagging around it, it's probably not what you need to be doing. Also, here's an interesting thing. So another thing that I learned from an individual that was in the class about private money, how close private money is and available all around you. So this person, they host a little networking event, and she invited another female friend to come to this event. And this female friend was very interested in real estate, but really doesn't have the time or the know-how or the desire to really be a savvy real estate investor, right? To be savvy, you got to be on it every day, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour a day. That's how much time I spend growing personally. I read or listen to an audiobook at least an hour a day. Yep, I'm up at 5 a.m. trying to do something. Yes, if you want to be savvy and be the very best, you've got to put the time in. And some people have the resources, but necessarily don't have the time. So this gal was really interested in real estate, and she came to a bunch of networking events, and she wasn't necessarily scared. She just didn't want to put the time in, but she had the money. And I'm here to tell you today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, that's what you should be doing and keeping your eyes and ears open, because there's someone right next to you right now that has the money, that understands the power of real estate, and they're willing to partner with you or loan you money privately so you can do acquisition. And what's the name of the game? What are we trying to do? We're trying to get paid monthly, a return on investment. Someone told me today, a yield. Money, I love this investor I was chatting with today. He's like, money has to yield. Money cannot just sit in a bank account. It does nothing. The world moves with money making a yield. And I was like, yes. And everybody wants a yield. That's why they put money in a savings account. They're yielding some interest. Interesting. So there's somebody, and this gal was hanging out with this girl, thinking that she was going to classes with this gal, thinking that she wanted to be a real estate investor just as she is a real estate investor, but come to find out that she could be a catalyst. So they partnered up, and now they're partners. One's a money partner and one is the investor. So there's private money from everywhere and anywhere. She had to take the scales off her eyes and realize it's not as hard as it can be or should be. You just need to find out and connect with people and find out what they want. What's their agenda? I have a 10,000, I have 500,000, I have $1 million, and everybody wants a yield. All right. Another thing that I learned in Chattanooga, everyone struggles and everyone wants help or answers. It was so awesome. I wrote these notes out, and I'm reading these notes line by line. It says, everyone struggles and everyone wants help or everyone wants answers. So ask somebody, go to the club meeting or a networking event or a class, and it could be anything on any subject, and everyone is looking. The problem is, someone has to make the first move. And you that are listening to this, girl or guy, or whatever you are, partner, crime, whatever, ask someone for help. And that just happened to me yesterday. I'm doing my huge due diligence. I'm spending several weeks on this acquisition, and they're like, the bank calls me, the institution, hey, there was a dry cleaner in the building and we are requesting a phase 2. How much is a phase 2, homie? $5,000, $6,000. It could be up to $28,000. Whoa. And my due diligence period is running out, and I got to make a decision. If I go on, I could lose my earnest. So what do? Everyone struggles, and everyone wants or needs help or wants answers. So what I did was I just started calling everyone I knew that had real estate experience in commercial properties, and I got a consensus. You need to do the same thing. If it's just me, call me, text me, whatever, Facebook me. Hey, VanCauwenbergh, have you had any issue with blank? Just the other day, someone texted me, hey, is this normal that the granite guy's charging me $150 to cut out a sink? No. Is it normal? It's so funny because it seems like Another investor asked me a similar question. Who's your granite guy? I'm like, do you want a cheap one or do you want a good one? Or is this a rent house or is this for your own crib? Do you have, but ask for help. Ask for help. All right. Another thought I learned or whatever in Chattanooga. People are looking for friends. So be one and have an event that you should host yourself. Develop friends that you need that you can go to. All right. So of course my notes are encrypted because I just threw these together. But why don't you host your own event? Why don't you get together and pick 5 of your friends or 3 of your friends or 2 of your friends and create a real mastermind that we're genuinely helping each other. Getting a group of wholesalers together is probably not the ideal group because what's going to happen? It just creates competition. And there's competition everywhere. You say there is no there is competition. People get mad that you're succeeding and I'm not getting deals. We're created that way with drive. If there wasn't competition, we'd be sleeping all day. But you do need to find 3 or 4 friends or 2 or 1 that have maybe in a different industry, or like I'm in commercial now and you're in residential. I really have zero interest in this one little area at the moment. Now, am I going to take down a deal? Probably. But you're really wanting to wholesale and you're thinking about spending $5,000 or $10,000 in marketing and you don't have a website. You probably should call with your friend and does this make sense? People are looking for friends, and are you being a friend to someone else? And are you asking to be a friend to someone else? And I have been working on a podcast, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, on what is a friend. Okay, and someone dear to me said, Stephen, you always say that person's your friend, and I was like taken back by that, and I was like, you're right. I love everybody, kind of. Seriously, what makes a friend? If that strikes a chord in you, man, I would love to interview you, talk to you, because I'm trying. I've been working on this podcast for a couple of weeks now. What is a friend? Like back in the day, I heard a real friend is refrigerator rights. Do you feel comfortable enough to go to someone's home and open the refrigerator and grab something out of the refrigerator? That's called refrigerator rights. Or is being a friend, is it willing to loan money? Would you let a friend drive your car? See, I'm already getting to the podcast. But the point is, ladies and boys and girls and men and women around the world, be a friend. People are looking for friends. Do it. Here's another one. Invest in yourself. At least 10%. I realize I may have said this before, but, I was at a party when I was there hanging around with a bunch of real estate investors. This just worked out perfectly. And I was like, this dude just went to the Rich Dad, Poor Dad Dallas event. And he was like, this is the best thing I ever went to. And I'm thinking to myself, what makes it, in my mind, because, I've seen Rich Dad, Poor Dad before he blew up. I knew about him and I read his book and I have, I've met him a couple of times. And I'm not saying that so you think that I'm cool because I've met Kiyosaki before. No, I just was like, he impacted my life. And, I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for him. I have a lot of respect for him. And I'm not saying anything less than him, but this guy was enamored by this event. And I'm like, what makes this event so great? And he's like, I'm going next year. I'm going every year. I'm like, this is very fascinating. How is this culture even possible? And then I realized to myself, the point is, you must spend at least 10% on yourself for personal development, for growth in the area that you want to be in. Meaning, you need, if you're going to be in real estate, start putting aside a percentage of your income or setting a goal for amount of money that you're going to be willing to spend to go to Investor Weekend or to a class or to the big Dallas event or Ohio RIA or whatever it may be. You've got to allocate that resources and you will reap so much back. And I asked them, so what'd you learn from the event? because this dude was lit up. I mean, like, I kind of know this guy, and I like this guy. I like hanging out with this guy. I like talking to this guy. But man, I was like, well, dude, I'm in Chattanooga. So this guy flew all the way from Chattanooga all the way to Dallas for this weekend event to see Kiyosaki and to listen to probably people selling stuff. Like, we all know this. And I go, what'd you pick up? He's like, the normal stuff. And I was like, wow, why is this guy so? He's like, I also learned a lot of tax strategies. And I was like, man. And then I realized another thought. I go, you need to hear things several times for even years, even for myself personally. I remember someone telling me and teaching me, his name is Bob Dressman, superstar at Ohio, about HSA accounts and Roth IRAs and loaning money out of your IRA and how he turned $1,000 into $1 million out of his IRA, tax-free. That's Bob Dressman. It's my homie. He's amazing. And you've got to hear it several times for many years, and it will just click. Those things an HSA account just clicks for me now. And when I first heard it, I don't even remember what the HSA health savings account, and that you can borrow against it, and you can be tax deferred and blah, 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 or trusts, or subject twos, or creative financing. You need to hear these things several times, and you need to go to the several classes several times. I think there's a local person in my town that does some classes, and they're like, hey, if you buy my class one time, you can come to that same exact class for free. What a phenomenal idea. You should go. I teach all the time, right? And I try to never teach the same thing. If I always expect someone in the room that has heard me, and I try to be different. But even if I wasn't, there at the time, I've read books several times now. I used to be anti that, but when I reread Millionaire Fastlane, I'm just blown away that why I wasn't ready then. And that's where you may be in your journey. You've heard about creative financing, or you've heard about bank funding and you don't understand it. And now is the time for you to understand it. Get back after it. Grind it out. Go back to several podcasts that I've talked about on creative financing or private money, or an area that you're weak in. Like myself, I have some commercial experience. I've done several commercial deals, but I feel so infantile in commercial real estate. And I feel, so I've been buying courses right now. I have been reading books on commercial real estate because I want to be savvy and I want to be the very best as possible. And I hope that you will be the very best that you can be. When you're sleeping in, you shouldn't be watching TV, and you for sure know you shouldn't be buying those $300 Jordans. You should be buying assets that are going to yield money. And I know we can be tit for tat on those $300 Jordans. I get it, right? But do you have insurance on those Jordans? If someone stole those Jordans that came into your crib, but if someone broke into your house right now, you probably got homeowners insurance or you got renter's insurance. Protect your assets, go buy assets, and I hope to see you soon. If this impacted you in any way, you want to connect on Facebook, let's do it, or go to thesavvypodcast.com and let's connect on Twitter or wherever.
What is the Savvy Bootcamp? Are you struggling to get to the next level as a business owner, as an investor? Do you want to multiply your income? Sign up for the Savvy Bootcamp, a strategic and supercharged one-night and one-day event designed to shortcut your learning process and propel you forward. Just value, no upsells, and an intimate setting to build relationships with like-minded investors. We will be covering how personality profiling can make you a millionaire, outsourcing and the nitty-gritty of maximizing your property management, scaling your business through systems and automation, technology hacks you should be using every day, and how to raise private money. Go to www.savvybootcamp.com now to register or to find out more.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.